In this lesson, we are going to look at modal verbs. There are three essential questions for this lesson. How do you use modal verbs? When do you use modal verbs? And how do modal verbs affect word order? Modal verbs are also known as helping verbs. They work with another verb to change the mood or emphasis of the sentence. In this first sentence, there's no modal verb. Ich esse eine Pizza. I eat a pizza. We can change the mood or emphasis of the sentence by using a modal verb. Ich darf eine Pizza essen. I'm allowed to eat a pizza. Ich kann eine Pizza essen. I can eat a pizza. Ich mag eine Pizza essen. I like to eat a pizza. Ich möchte eine Pizza essen. I would like to eat a pizza. Ich muss eine Pizza essen. I must eat a pizza. Ich soll eine Pizza essen. I should eat a pizza. And ich will eine Pizza essen. I want to eat a pizza. So although all 7 of those sentences are about eating pizza, the mood or emphasis of the sentence is slightly changed by using a different modal verb. There are 7 modal verbs. Let's look at each of those. Modal verbs are all irregular and must be memorized. Add these 7 verbs to your notes and refer to them every time you work on modal verbs. Dürfen, may, to be allowed to, is ich darf, du darfst, sie es darf, wir dürfen, ihr dürft, and sie dürfen. Können, can or to be able to. Ich kann, du kannst, sie es kann, wir können, ihr könnt, und sie können. Möchten, would like to. Ich möchte, du möchtest, sie es möchte, wir möchten, ihr möchtet, sie möchten. Mögen, to like. Ich mag, du magst, sie es mag, wir mögen, ihr mögt, und sie mögen. Müssen, must or to have to. Ich muss, du musst, sie es muss, wir müssen, ihr müsst, und sie müssen. Sollen, should or to be supposed to. Ich soll, du sollst, sie es soll, wir sollen, ihr sollt, sie sollen. Wollen, to want to. Ich will, du willst, sie es will, wir wollen, ihr wollt, und sie wollen. Modal verbs work with another verb. The other verb is considered the main verb. Without a main verb, the modal verb does not provide enough information. In any German sentence with 2 verbs, only one verb can be conjugated. The other verb remains in its infinitive form and always moves to the end of the sentence. So some reminders. Number 1, the modal verb gets conjugated. Number 2, the main verb stays in the infinitive form, and it goes to the end of the sentence. When working with modal verbs, we always use the same word order. Subject plus modal verb plus direct object or any other parts of speech, and then the main verb, which will be the last word in the sentence. For example, ich kann eine Pizza essen. I can eat a pizza. Kann is my modal verb. It is conjugated for the subject ich. Essen is in its infinitive form at the end of the sentence. Muss seine Hausaufgaben machen. He must or has to do his homework. Müssen is our modal verb conjugated for muss, and machen is in its infinitive form at the end of the sentence. Sie sollen die Fahrräder fahren. They should ride the bicycles. Sollen is our modal verb conjugated for sie, and fahren is in its infinitive at the end of the sentence. To become familiar with modal verbs, you're going to look at adding modal verbs to sentences and rewriting those sentences. Use the following steps to do this. Step 1, identify the subject of the original sentence. Step 2, identify the main verb. Step 3, change the main verb to the infinitive form and move it to the end of the sentence. And step 4, conjugate the modal verb and put it where the original verb was. Looking at the sentence, Ich spiele Fußball, I play soccer, let's change that using the modal verb möchten, would like to. In step 1, I identify the subject as ich. In step 2, I identify the main verb spiele. In step 3, I change spiele to the infinitive form spielen and I move that to the end of the sentence. And in step 4, I conjugate the verb in parentheses möchten to the ich form, möchte, and my new sentence would be Ich möchte Fußball spielen. I would like to play soccer. Now it's time for you to practice those irregular modal verbs. In your notes, write down these 5 sentences, first without a modal verb, and then rewrite them using the steps provided to a sentence with a modal verb. 1. Ich kaufe einen Computer. I buy a computer. Changing that with the verb sollen. Ich soll einen Computer kaufen. I should buy a computer. 2. Lernt Deutsch. He learns German. With the modal verb müssen. Muss Deutsch lernen. He has to learn German, or he must. 3. Ingrid geht ins Kaufhaus. Ingrid goes to the department store. Using the modal verb mögen. Ingrid mag ins Kaufhaus gehen. Ingrid likes to go to the department store. 4. Sie sprechen am Telefon. They talk on the telephone. Sie wollen am Telefon sprechen. They want to talk on the telephone. 5. Jörg sieht am Abend fern. Jörg watches television in the evening. Using dürfen, Jörg darf am Abend fernsehen. Jörg is allowed to watch television in the evening. Now add these 5 sentences to your notes in the original form and also rewrite them using the modal verb indicated. 6. Wir besuchen unsere Oma. We visit our grandma. Wir können unsere Oma besuchen. We can visit our grandma. 7. Ihr kauft ein paar CDs. You are buying a few CDs. Ihr möchtet ein paar CDs kaufen. You would like to buy a few CDs. 8. Spielt Gitarre. Using the verb dürfen. Darf Gitarre spielen. So going from he plays guitar to he is allowed to play guitar. 9. Ich gehe nicht nach Hause. I am not going home. With the modal verb wollen. Ich will nicht nach Hause gehen. I do not want to go home. Und 10. Was machst du? What are you doing? Using the modal verb müssen. Was musst du machen? What do you have to do? Modal verbs being irregular will take time, practice, repetition to become familiar and comfortable with those verb conjugations. If at this point you are unsure of how to use modal verbs, please email your instructor.